Spider-Man Unlimited, the fan guide. Hey guys, doing Cal here with your fan guide, episode 2.2. This week I'm going to cover a couple different topics. Now the fan guide episodes, again, going to have a little different structure than in the past. Not going to cover so much about what's going on in the game as the event guides, and a lot of things cover that, but we'll touch on some of the other topics with the game. This week we're going to touch on some of the coming updates that we've got some information on for you. Again, I wanted to touch on a couple topic things that everybody was talking about in the forums here recently regarding the future of Spider-Man Unlimited, the current team that is working on it and where it might be headed. Another hot topic, of course, is hackers, hacker prevention, what they're doing about it, what might be done in the future. We've got some more details on that for you, so definitely catch the whole episode. A lot of information, a lot going on here, so I'm going to jump right into it. First thing I want to note, if you guys have been paying attention, I guess over the weekend, Wikia had some hacker problems where a lot of major sites were affected. I'm not sure if that's exactly what the issue is, but for some reason I'm blocked from my own wiki. But some of the fan guide team is not blocked, including Goatmeat and Kyrabet, so they're in there trying to make the edits as possible. But I had a lot of big edits planned for this week that are kind of on hold until I can get that account cleared or figure out a way to get another one up and going here real quick. But we'll have that resolved shortly, so definitely keep checking the Wikia. Those event guides and new event details will be continuously posted by my fan guide team members, and we'll get back to the regular edits on new content here shortly. So, anyways, going into what we can expect coming here soon, just want to mention a couple quick notes from Maria. Again, we are in contact behind the scenes, the fan guide team with Maria. We have news that Update 8 is scheduled and completed for next week. They do not have an exact date because it is dependent upon the App Store and Google Play. So keep that in mind, you guys, as these updates start rolling out. Again, Gameloft, once they launch it out, they do not have control over how quick the update rolls out. That is all on the App Store and on Google Play Store as to how quick they roll them out. Now, a cool thing that we've done in the past, the fan guide usually has access to some players who have that first rollout for Android. I know last time Android is particularly affected because we have a 50% rollout and then 50% comes out later. Last time it took like 2 or 3 days for everybody to get it. We generally have players who receive it at the first part of the update who give us their APK through the Drive system. So usually we can bring you a link to a good app file before it reaches your Play Store. Very many players have had success with that, so we'll look to do that for you if there are any issues this time. A couple quick notes about this, what is technically being called Update 8, I guess, because of the size and the fact that it will take a update from the Google Play Store, but not too much new coming as far as content. She did mention a couple new features, but the main point of this update is to fix alliances and some major bug fixes going on with the game. They've been working very hard behind the scenes trying to get that sorted out. I know we've had a lot of issues during the downtime in the game, but they are aware of a lot of things and they are working to fix everything very quickly. So definitely look for some of those fixes. Anyways, jumping right back in here, like I said, definitely they're going to be trying to get a lot of those major issues addressed. Some of the other major problems might take another update or two, or some of the suggestions we've had for them as far as changing the game. You guys also need to keep in mind that a lot of this content they're working on currently was already pre-developed by the New York team. So they're working with prefabricated ideas and prefabricated coding. So that's something to keep in mind for as far as time frame and what they can accomplish. They are probably starting to work on some new content that's just from them. I know of some new things that have been working their way into the beta version that we've gotten information from the guys over at VK. Put some links in the description for the video for them. But again, like I said, update 8 mostly just gonna be some fixes and a couple new features, but she didn't really give us too much information as far as the features. And then following that, she said update 9 will be pretty cool. A little later in the episode, I'm going to show you a couple of little things we know about update 9 and what we might expect. So definitely something to look forward to here in a minute. I want to touch on the fact here, the Fanguide. I'm proud to tell everybody we've been working very hard, obviously, for a long time to bring you guys the most up-to-date content, the best guides and tools you can have for your resource in this game. Maria and the Game Loft team have basically been starting to recognize some of our efforts. We've been working a lot behind the scenes. I've been talking myself to Maria about some special things that we're going to try and bring to the community soon here, kind of trying to work hand in hand. Again, the whole idea behind the new team getting the game and everything happening is that they are trying to revamp it. Again, the questions as to whether SMU is dying or the plans for the future of it. They wouldn't hire a whole new team for a dying game, so that's something to think about. But like I said, talking to them more behind the scenes here, we're hoping soon that we can maybe bring you guys some special Fanguide contest sponsored by Game Loft. I know Maria has said that there might be some special activity going on YouTube as far as Spider-Man Unlimited is concerned, but I won't say too much about that. No concrete details or anything, so no promises, but kind of keep an eye out for something going on there, and hopefully we'll be directly involved with some of that as well. Other cool things going on is possibly some chances to possibly bring you guys some previews of coming content and future updates. We're kind of negotiating terms on that. Everything's been going real well. Maria is definitely a pleasure to conversate with. She's been very, very helpful and very detailed in helping us with all our problems and concerns. Definitely addressing the players in the forums real well to the best of her abilities. Even more so than Kyle had done in the past, and he was pretty great. But Maria's doing a very great job at showing him up at this point because, like I said, a lot of detail and a lot of working with us on her end. So, something to look forward to. Hopefully the Fanguide will be growing here soon, and we'll be able to bring you guys even more content. We'll have a little more resources as far as what we can show and bring to you guys. Definitely cool to see some of that work paying off, and hopefully it'll benefit you as well. So again, moving into the next part of this conversation, I wanted to touch a little bit on what's going on right now and what we can expect from the next couple updates. Of course, we're currently in the Spider Island storyline, which if you haven't seen, I'll go ahead and pop up a couple of the previews here. But these images, obviously, courtesy of the guys over at VK from the beta version. This is a loading screen where we can see Agent Venom and the already revealed new 2099 making their way into the loading screen. So we're not sure exactly where 2099 is going to play a role in the next update for the next part of Spider Island, but already confirmed was Agent Venom. So there we get some of our first looks at what he might look like and some of the artwork we might see in the game for him. So definitely pretty cool, taking on more of a traditional look there. Let's see, go ahead and go through some of these other ones. Of course, somebody else we might be able to look forward to down the line. You see, this is a special edition Spider-Man Unlimited variant cover for the all-new, all-different Spider-Man, which is, I think, pretty cool. I think this came through VK as well, but as an official picture, I just found it through VK. So again, they're always finding some pretty cool Spider-Man and Spider-Man Unlimited related stuff. Definitely check them out. So like I said, we might see him work his way. That might be the way around having Spider-Man as a Titan in the future without having to bring in his current abilities or just revamp them. They could just bring in all new, all different Amazing Spider-Man as a Titan, as opposed to just Amazing Spider-Man, and give him a totally new set of good Titan abilities. So hopefully that's what we'll see happen. bring you a couple more leaks here in a little bit. But again, like I said, if anybody's really paid attention to the Spider Island storylines, you know there's the old version and the new version. Both of them have a lot to do with symbiote Secret Wars. I'm sorry, not just Spider Island leading into Secret Wars. Because as we know now, in the new 2015 edition, which Spider-Man Unlimited has a trend of kind of mixing old and new and putting their own twist on things, but in the new 2015 comic series, there's a Renew Your Vows series that comes directly after the Secret Wars series that's going on, and I know Venom has a lot to do with that, a lot to do with symbiotes. Maybe a way for them to work in the current Secret Wars content, as well as possibly leading into symbiotes here soon, because I know we're going to need some new missions and chapters coming up in the game. And another little thing to touch on is somewhere in there I do believe we are going to get some Identity Crisis characters and storylines going on. We've seen some previews through VK. Now they're not sure whether they're test spiders or what, because they said they're not in there ready for the next update, but the general consensus of what they believe, and based off of what I've heard and seen and observed from the game, these are very probable for update 9, possibly the next update after, but I'd say pretty solid on update 9. And that's the Identity Crisis characters. Of course, when Peter Parker had to take on 4 separate identities other than the Spider-Man identity. Go ahead and check that out on Google. It's an interesting storyline. Don't want to throw too many spoilers out there. But the 4 identities, of course, are Dusk, Hornet, you see here. See a quick little action shot of him. Here's the new 20. I just wanted to show that, and we'll go back to that in a minute. And that one. And then newly revealed today was Prodigy, you see here. Now, of course, the other 4th Identity Crisis would be Ricochet, so I'm hoping to see him pop up. Again, they've said these are just test spiders in the beta, but just off my observations and what's going on, I would say that these 4 are pretty set to be in one of the very soon coming updates, number 9, whichever. So definitely looking forward to seeing some of that. Hopefully everything kind of plays out like that, like I said, and then all that will kind of work its way into symbiotes, which will be the next chapters and issues in the game. So definitely a lot of cool things I think going on behind the scenes. They're definitely working on some really cool content, bringing something more than just Spider-Man variant characters as we've seen this update and the next coming updates. Adding a lot more variety for playability. Hopefully working on some skills and rebuilding things. We've been throwing some surveys on Facebook and in the forums and stuff. GoBeat's got a cool survey for what kind of abilities there are in the game and where you rank them. So take that so we can supply that data to GameLoft. Again, we've been trying to collect a lot of different data and things to supply to them to help the developers aim the game towards player satisfaction more than it's at right now, which brings us to my next subject. And I want to touch on this. Now, I don't mean to call Kevin out here, but he actually laid out a really nice post here not too long ago about SMU, where it started and where the future might be. He had a lot of strong points in here that I want to touch on. I have a lot of counterpoints as well as a lot of green points with him. So this will be a little bit bigger topic. I know this episode might be a little longer, but again, kind of heavily requested topics here, and hopefully some useful information going on. But as we lead into the post, we can see that he's laid out some nice comparisons here to other well-known run games. Temple Run, obviously, as he laid out here, Turbo Fast, Sonic Dash, Subway Surfers, all well-known run games, and some of them pretty long established. Now, as he pointed out here, there's a lot of unique features to Spider-Man Unlimited that make it different than a lot of run games out there. Boss fights, being able to attack enemies, the web swinging, wall crawling, free falling, all of that. Definitely cool parts of the game that make it different than anything else out there. As well as having a vast storyline resource to pull from. Obviously, tons of characters they could potentially add to the game. Lots of things they can do. Now, where he goes into points here about is that they're not really adding anything new, no features, that they're kind of slacking on like the character pages and how they haven't been updating with the Facebook page biographies for each character. And a couple things to note on that are alliances. That's a pretty big new feature to be tackling. And again, switching between development teams, I'm sure there was a lot of issues trying to work things out, but that's a very large project to take on. Once it is up and running, it's going to be a staple and a permanent solid part of the game. So it is a new feature that is being implemented right after the change of the New York office. So I'd say that signifies a lot of not only manpower but resources, time, and effort by GameLoft put into this game. It would be pretty pointless to dump all of that into it for no reason, for something they don't feel they will be successful with. So again, the whole point of this changing of hands was kind of for a revamp to regain control and to point the game in the right direction. Again, with some of these things about like uploading the pictures to Facebook, Maria is directly responsible for Facebook, the in-game news feeds that you see, a lot of the stuff in the forums, again, community manager. Now, it's important to remember too that everybody's their own person. Kyle had a way of doing things, I'm sure, that we were all used to. Maria's kind of been falling into her own habits here, kind of feeling her way around the community, getting used to us and the best ways to interact with us, and we've kind of a little bit of an in-game stream and the Facebook post, but then again, she's had a lot of interesting posts. She's been spending a lot more time directly responding to players, setting up relevant posts that she's stickied in the forums and things. So it's kind of a give and take situation. I wouldn't say that, you know, Maria isn't doing good or she doesn't give us enough answers, as he starts talking about later down in the post, but you know, she's actually doing a really good job of communicating with us. And again, I think, like I said, this is all relatively new. They're kind of still settling into place, and I think they are kind of bunkering down for a little bit more of a long-term thing. So things are really just kind of getting going for them. And we've seen some decent positive changes. Touching on, here we go, the Titan rarity. Of course, everybody was upset about the launch of the Titans. Of course, real big, negative feedback from the community as far as the availability of them, not being in portals, hard to win. Of course, only the top 1% or so of players were able to achieve winning them at first. Now, that went untouched for the longest time through the New York closure and through the beginning of this team taking over. But one thing to note is quickly after this update did launch, and we were speaking with Maria and the team, they did slowly start pouring them into availability a little more and more. I mean, we've gone from them being available at 1%, of the players without being in portals or anything, to now we're seeing a decent drop rate in portals, for 40 ISO. And they're switching around the Titans pretty frequently, making them available on the leaderboards more often. So the developers did take note of the outcry, and you've got to realize that it is a business and a company, and they can probably only achieve so much at a time. They can't just reverse everything and throw them out there for free all of a sudden and flood the market with them. But strategically, they have increased odds, tried to make it a little bit better for people. There are a lot of people still spending a lot of ISO without getting them, so I think there are some improvements to be made, but maybe not necessarily even as much in the reward system, but maybe the overall rewards, more ISO rewards out there, more resources for earning ISO, therefore more chances to make pools, so that you might be able to get your hands on the Titan. Even if you have to make more pools, at least you would have the resources. So again, I don't think the Titan debacle has really destroyed the game. It has hurt a lot of players, and one thing that I will agree with and touch on is that the inability for the majority of players to complete Issue 6 or hardly even compete in Issue 6 is a big problem. Hopefully GameLoft will take note of that, and in the future either make less of a multiplier increase or find a way to make players accessible to complete issues, possibly make them be able to share a multiplier with friends, or do something to make it so that at least the issues part of the game is achievable. This is more of any kind of run game is going to be more of an end game structure, where you're going to want to play through the missions and let people really be able to enjoy that. But for people competing in unlimited mode and events and things like that, the story mode is basically irrelevant. It's just very frustrating to not be able to finish it. So that's something hopefully, like I said, they'll take note of and try to fix it here in the future. Again, he started going off about how they started making it all of a sudden too available to people. Well, again, like I said, there are still a lot of people not getting it. I think they pretty well increased the odds. Anyways, moving right along. So he wants to again go into the portal system here, which is a good thing to talk about regarding the game because it is a solid foundation in the game. Now, as he goes on to talk about the different types of systems that are found in other games, and the way that they implement the system in Spider-Man Unlimited, is like I said here, he talks about how hard it was to get Titans, how much it was for people to dump in all of their ISO 8 or whatever for a chance to win one, and obviously it was unfair because they wouldn't release the odds to anybody. It was very hard. And then he makes the point down here later of about how everybody was asking for Titans, and then all of a sudden they make them available to everybody and they're just flooding the market. Well, I don't really believe that's true. Again, if you really pay attention to a lot of people, yes, we've seen a large increase on people getting them, a lot of people pleased about it, but there's still a lot of people lacking. It's taken time for people to build those Titans. We have a decent variety in Titan abilities, so there are desired Titans, obviously, with Felicity and Goblin, which makes it harder for players to get the exact one they want. So they haven't exactly flooded the market, but I think, again, they've made a decent balance of putting them in there. And again, I think some of the real issue lies not just with the portal system, but with the actual rewards that we're receiving for different events and things in the game, particularly battlegrounds events and alliances are very non-rewarding for the investment. So I think if we were able to receive a little bit more back for what we're doing in the game and make people be able to pool more often, that would be another nice little balance. And here he talks about how Maria and the development team and everybody has a lack of coordination and discussion. Well, I can say for a fact that I know that to be not true. Now, just because they don't post a lot of public information or clarify things, I think they've tried to learn from mistakes made by the last team in not saying things publicly that you can't really promise, because the unfortunate side effect is that the community will latch on to one certain thing that you say, and if it does not follow through because of unforeseen complications, there's a lot of heat to take and a lot of negative comments and obviously feedback from that situation. So, with that said, behind the scenes, Maria has been very much in contact with the development team, the marketing team, and all the other aspects of Spider-Man Unlimited. I know this to be true because of things that we have seen directly resulting in changes in the game that we've spoken with her about. Certain community feedback we have given her that has been implemented, almost instantaneously. A lot of information that she gives us that we kind of filter and releasing to the public, because again, we're trying not to fuel misguided information or anything like that. So, but she does let us know that she is talking with them, what issues they are aware of, what things they are working on, even as far as the anti-hack team, which is another topic that I'm going to be getting on here, but they're very aware of hackers. It's not that they are not adept at being able to block them or being able to take care of them, or that their policies are so bad. Some of the compensation policies have been pretty absurd up until this point, but again, this new team being more willing to work with us than they have in the past with the New York team, they're talking to us about alternative methods that they're using to deal with this problem. They're aware of Ivan, particularly on iOS, and some of the other Android hackers and other problems going on, and they're implementing things behind the scenes and doing this for a reason and not addressing it public for obvious security reasons. I can't go too much into detail again because we don't want to make certain information known to those who might be using this or might find a way around their new methods and things that they're using to handle these situations, but they are aware of it. They are working on making the situation better for you guys. Again, it takes time. This is a multi-million. Just to give you, again, a little bit of perspective, this company makes $8,000 revenue daily estimated for Spider-Man Unlimited alone. They are a multi-hundred millionaire company. They're one of the largest mobile gaming companies on the planet. So things do take time to make business changes, to make things happen in the game, to make executive decisions, and certain channels do have to be taken. And for the time that this team has been on the game compared to the last, we have seen a huge increase in community involvement and response from the development team, even as far as surveys they've been sending out and things. And people say, what's the point of a survey if you don't react? Again, you can't just take a survey and then add all the content in 2 weeks later. It's going to take, a month, 2-3 months down the line, which only supports my argument that there are plans long term for this game. This isn't some fly-by-night working out of the garage company. These people make calculated moves. They know what they're investing their money into. They are not investing all this time, resources, and money into a dying or failing game. They are interested in fixing this game, and they are dumping resources to make it happen. So something to keep in mind again about the new team. I'm very fond of them, very fond of the way they've been doing things, and again, we're trying to be very understanding of some of the other issues and harder things to address. There are some things that I'd like to see change, but again, we all have to be understanding of how these things work in a large company like this. Everybody has bosses to answer to, everybody has channels they have to go through, and that's just the way of the world, the way it is at any kind of local gaming company that's actually reputable and any kind of business model going on. So again, I have to respectfully give my point of view on the issue here and just say that I don't agree with the statements of this team not being able to cooperate with each other and kind of not doing as good as the New York team here. He says that they were doing better up until the New York team was closed, and again, that's just from what we've seen and being daily involved with it, just not true. And again, here we start talking about bugs, glitches, and problems, which is a huge major topic going on right now. And again, comes into the credibility of this team and what's going on with the game. Now again, one thing I can say, if you can find a way to fix these things so quickly in a week or two, please tell the development team how to do it. Go ahead, give them a job application, get yourself signed up. I'm sure they'll pay you a decent amount of money. They have it to burn to get these things fixed quicker than they can, because they are aware of them. And again, behind the scenes, they are working on hot fixes and major updates that have to be implemented to fix these things. People say, well, don't they play test? Yes, they do, but they do not own one of every single device on the planet, and they do not sit there and play on one of every single device on the planet. Every device runs off different kernels and different models, and I mean, there's just too many unforeseen complications to where something like Battlegrounds basically absolutely has to be massively player tested. And if you don't think that they're upset about the way things went, just rethink things, because this is their job. This is how they supply food for their families. This is not a joke, or like I said, just some crockpot team operating out of a garage. This is serious business to them. They are working very hard to fix these things. They are taking note of the major things. Again, some of these things have existed since before they were around, so they're working to fix things that were already wrong with the game So again, you need to give them some time on things like that. They're well aware of the wall and unlimited mode, for instance. Again, that's something that cannot just be instantly fixed. They have to patch the game, run it through more testing, and do it when we get this coming update in the next week or so. So, again, moving on to the hacker issue. Again, where we've been seeing a lot of those billion scores and stuff. Like I said, they're not as easy. We can't go too much into it here, for security reasons, but it's not as easy to ban somebody as you would think. There are methods for hackers to, for instance, be able to unban themselves. It's not that GameLoft, again, is not adept at what they're doing. It's this team is working with policies and tools that were previously in place. Everybody has made the agreement that the past team had some mistakes, had some problems and issues that they continue to address. I think this team is doing very well at acknowledging and addressing a lot of what they can. And again, you got to understand as far as what kind of information they can give us regarding hacking and things like that, because they don't want to give away information that is going to enable these people to make it easier for them to do it in the future. So there is some tight-lipped security going on with that, but just know that they are working on it. This team is very open to the idea of, again, like I said, talking to us about Ivan and dealing with that situation and alternative methods. So give them a chance to kind of work things out. Let's not be too demanding of them as far as things like that at first, because it does take time to implement new tools and new methods and at least start working on them. So the one thing he does touch on is about the policy for compensation. I think people just need to go ahead. There's a little thread posted in the forum where you can post your ticket IDs. Again, I don't want to get into much, just go in there and post your ticket ID if you lost out on a reward prize due to a hacker being in the top spot, which that's all I'll go ahead and touch on that subject. I know we're starting to run a little bit longer here, but like I said, a lot of different things to touch on. And again, a lot of this stuff does come directly from Maria. A lot of it is observation based by myself and the Fanguide team, and things that we've conversed from our history in the game and things that we know about the game. So take it for what it is, but obviously a lot of our information comes with a lot of facts and backing to it. So, as he says here, he believes that those points are destroying the game, and that for that reason it's on its way out. And like I said, my main point to all this is looking at it from the perspective of knowing this is a very serious company with very serious plans for this game. Again, they've dumped a lot of manpower and resources into revamping it here. They're not going to play with their money. They make multi-hundreds of millions of dollars a year. Again, Spider-Man Unlimited is one of their top grossing games. Again, if you're not aware of the game or the Chaos game, it's one of the larger games on the market. It's been around for a long time. They just came out with number 2 or something. This company is large. You can look at thinkgaming.com or a couple other resources out there have the daily figures as far as downloads and money, but they make a good revenue. Again, they're just looking to fix the game. This team is very much more open to talking to us. They've taken a lot of our suggestions, and I think they're going to be implementing a lot of things here in the next couple of updates. Just the fact in the correspondence with her alone have already suggested at least another 2 or 3 updates and many plans in the future for different content and things to do, and things they're looking to do as far as marketing and community-wise. Maria's got a lot of cool ideas that we've been tossing back and forth as far as bringing new stuff to players, kind of rejuvenating the community and getting people involved. I think a lot of these ideas are really great. I'd love to see some of them start to be implemented soon. Again, like I said, just some certain channels have to be taken and done. A couple other things to touch on. Maria did confirm with me that they're aware of this 7-day event situation, that we are not that happy with it, especially solo 7-day events with nothing else going on. She has spoken with the person in charge of events, and he is planning on reducing some of these events, or at least splitting them in half, or having other things going on. So there are going to be changes to the event structure coming up. We are also trying to work. Maria has mentioned to me about possibly bringing in the Fanguide, talking to the marketing producer, and like I said, trying to bring you guys some cool content and things. So again, these are all indications of things that they are trying to do to better the game, better the community, get everybody involved, not signs of a dying game or something that's not playing for longevity. I think the whole idea behind Alliances was to give the game longevity, to give it a life beyond just storylines and events, something for players to do continuously. So a lot of things going on behind the scenes. I think people just get a little impatient and caught up in the moment. We're used to patterns in the past from the old team. Like I said, it's just going to take some time for things to be worked in there. Hopefully you guys are enjoying some of the new things we're seeing in the game like I am. I know I recently quit playing competitively so much, but I'm sure by the next couple updates I'll be jumping back in there a little bit more to at least check things out. And you know, see how the game's running and everything. I gotta at least keep on top of my skill, otherwise you guys aren't gonna really want to listen to what I have to say. But I think that's gonna pretty much cover it for this episode. Not too much else for me to touch on here in my notes that I've got wrote down. Again, just hang tight, wait for some of the coming updates. Let's see how things go here. Let's see how some of the event structures change, prizes, things like that, things that they couldn't change on the fly that should hopefully be coming in this next hotfix update, and then the following update 9. And definitely it looks like they have some cool storylines and characters planned for us. So like I said, I think they're in it for the long term, and you can bet that the Fanguide's going to be right alongside them, continuously growing, bringing you guys more and more content, always up-to-date content, trying to bring you the most useful tools that you can find anywhere online, of course, so it makes your experience a little bit better and help you progress a little bit further in this game. And I think that's going to conclude this episode. So until next time, catch you later, webheads.